So introduce yourself, your role, and share what's the best thing about working in the contingent workforce industry.
All right, sounds good. Well, my name is Natalie Javid, and I oversee the Global Contingent Workforce Program at Snowflake. I've been with Snowflake for about 5 years, and prior to being at Snowflake, I've managed and had the opportunity to manage contingent workforce programs and strategies for Airbnb and ServiceNow. And getting to build this program over the last 5 years has just really been a great opportunity. I mean, the industry, as we know, is always changing.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the most exciting things because we really wear so many different hats. Our program sits within the people organization, and within that organization, I always say it's like a microcosm of HR because essentially we do everything
That's right.
that the human resource or people organization would do for their full-time employees, except for, of course, learning and development and taking care of benefits and things of that nature. But we are dealing with employee relations. We are dealing with managing and implementing technology. We are dealing with, onboarding, offboarding,
Sure.
you name it. And it's always evolving. And with that, I have to evolve or else I'm going to be irrelevant.
I love that. And we're going to kind of tie that into this theme of kind of perpetually changing and evolving. So what do you see? What are some of those trends that you think are going to take hold? Whether you're just kind of seeing just the inkling of them coming up in the industry or something that's already taken hold that you're like, this is going to come at us pretty fast.
Obviously, AI, we've heard a lot about it.
Most popular response.
Yes. And I mean, but I don't think any of us know what that really is going to look like in the contingent workforce. I do think some of it is going to have to deal with how do we redeploy our talent pool that we already have? Like, how do we already make the most of the talent that's already in our ecosystem? And what ways can technology help us with that? And I don't know, I think that's going to be one of the ways that we'll be looking at.
So kind of leveraging AI for a direct sourcing model?
I mean, potentially, yes, absolutely. Like that's a facet of that for sure. Absolutely. But I think maybe we're going to have to stop. I don't know. Maybe we have to be a little bit more open-minded in the way that we're thinking about it and just see how it evolves.
Yeah. Agreed. And then to that end, you have to start to think about, it's a perfect segue into your vendors and what they're providing for you and how nimble and how they're able to flex.
Yep.
How important is that to you? Like, talk to me about that relationship.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, our vendors, our partners. I like to call them our staffing partners.
Okay.
So sometimes people call them suppliers, vendors, but they really are our partners.
Yeah.
They are critical to our success. Without them, we can't do anything. And so we really look to them to understand what is really happening out there. I'm in my world, right? I'm not out there. I don't have boots on the ground. I don't know what's happening day to day. I don't know how the workforce is fluctuating in that way. So we really look to them for those insights and those trends to tell us what's happening and what they're seeing out there. But we also, it's going to be critical that they've got the right talent for us and that they're keeping up with that as well, right? So like we're moving so fast, we all have to be moving in the same direction together.
Right.
Because if we're out of step, then, that's like a bad dance partner.
We actually heard it's everything that you're saying is kind of tying into, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, total talent. And one of the things that I heard Peter say earlier in the conference is that he first heard this term 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And here we are today still talking about it and in some ways still trying to define what that means, which we know, just like everything else, could mean something different, depending on who the client is, depending on who the partner is, right? So how are you guys approaching it? How are you defining it? And is that a priority for you all?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a priority. I do think it is a muscle that we are trying to build, right? And so we're in the beginning steps of defining our workout. What we've done though to move in that direction is that we're ingesting data from our VMS directly into Snowflake.
Oh.
And so we've got all of our full-time data in Snowflake as well. So
Makes
now
sense.
we're taking all of the data from our vendor management system, and at least we now know it's all in one platform. So we're going to be able to eventually start looking at the trends between the workforces. I think the reason why Peter said he hasn't seen a lot happen in the decade plus since this has been a topic is because we still have so many organizations siloed. So that is a bit of a challenge, right? Where how do I get my talent acquisition team? How do I get my HRBPs? How do I get the leaders within the organization and procurement and all of those groups to come together, right? Because I still think like we're working in these silos, and those silos need to be broken down. There has to be a little bit more guidance in regards to workforce planning, and nobody that I talk to really has a secret sauce yet. I mean, I think some companies have got some of this dialed in and they're moving in the right direction, but for us, we're laying the foundation, right? And I'm working on having conversations with our HRBPs, again, with those various different stakeholder groups that I just mentioned, and hopefully, this is something that we will just continue to move the needle on and progress in.
I think it's going to continue to evolve, and you made a really good point in terms of like just always bifurcating how the departments work. And when we talk about adoption in contingent workforce, we think about it exclusively in contingent workforce, and I think that adoption needs to more broadly be across all of those functions to come together in like a cohesive way to move that workforce forward.
Absolutely. And then we stop looking at I think the other problem is like the way that we fragment the workforce, right? We say, oh, this is a full-time role.
Correct.
This is extended workforce or contingent labor. But we really, and everybody says it, like really just looking at the skills and the work at hand and who can get it done.
Right.
So
that part.
Yeah.
That part right there.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you joining us. I have one more question for you to close it out. What are you most excited about when it comes to the future of work?
I think, I'm just really excited to see where all of these enhancements in technology are going to take us. I think a lot of people have fear behind it because they think they might be displaced, but I think it's really just going to enhance what we're able to do. And I'm looking forward to just educating myself and that. So I'm just really excited to see like really where we're going. I mean, I forget the keynote this morning, I forget her name, but she was talking about, like when the internet came out, like how many, the years.
Y2K and the fears there.
Exactly. And then also, but also like when did it really change our life? And it was when the first smartphone came out. So I think that we're in that gap phase. And I'm just really excited to see like what are those technology advancements or technological advancements, I should say, that are going to come out that's really going to spur the future of work.
Yeah, and I like that you said that out loud. There is some fear, and I think we need to normalize that. It's okay for there to be some fear. We also want to make sure that there's some regulation behind it.
Absolutely. It should be ethical.
There's just so much that we don't know, but there is a lot of excitement behind what that could become. So I'm excited for that.
And, it's natural. As human beings, we are creatures of habit. We do not like change. And I think that from a psychological lens, we have to acknowledge that.
That's right. But we do like to evolve.
We do like to evolve.
So let's embrace it, right?
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for being here. I hope you had an amazing conference this year.
I did. Actually, it's one for the record books. So thank you for having me.
You got it.